And we're back for another episode of the Pop Culture Cosmos. My name is Gerald Glassford from Pop Culture Cosmos and Game Source. I know Rob loves it every time I do that. We want to thank you again for joining us on another fabulous episode of the Pop Culture Cosmos show. If you get a chance, check us out every Monday night, 10:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 p.m. Pacific on the Podcast Radio Network. And we are also available for downloading at any point in time. You can check out all of our previous programs, plus the latest episode. That also, if you're listening on download, you already know. But download today on iTunes, Stitcher, podcast.com, also as well, Mixcloud, and Google Play. I got so many I didn't know as well. Also, you can check us out on the ESO Network, the Tangibound Network, and the Gonna Geek Network. 3 great networks indeed. You can check out all their great programming that they have, all the great shows that they have on those stations. And also, don't forget all of the great programming that's available on the Podcast Radio Network as well. So we are now talking about a lot of great stuff here on today's episode. Indeed, I will have an interview with the CEO of Utomic, the great gaming service, and he's going to tell you all about it. It is Doki Tops. I think I got that right. I'm going to check in here. He's going to check in here in a minute, and I'm going to make sure that I've got that correctly, because he's going to be calling into us from the Netherlands, and I tell you what, he's got a great concept that everybody needs to check out with Utomic and utomic.com. Also, as well, we've got the producers, Jared Pixler and David Stallworthy of the Video Games Play. Now, just want to check it out, thevideogamesplay.com. It is the video games. It's an offshoot of the Hunger Games that people that are really familiar with that series want to see a live production of a similar type thing, only set in the video game universe. Want to check it out. It's great. The highlights are there on YouTube. You want to check out everything that they've got going on there. No show seems to end up in the same as from what they described it to me. No show seems to end up in the same as far what I've seen. So you want to definitely check it out. I will be talking to the producers, Jared Pixler and David Stallworthy, today on the show. We just truly appreciate them being part of the program. And then, last but not least, we want to also forget, with all the other great stuff that's going to go on in today's episode, the TV Ratings Guys, our good friends at the TV Ratings Guide, will be stopping by. So you want to check them out, theTVRatingsGuide.com. And also now on Facebook, they're updating constantly with all their stories there as well. So it's another great, awesome podcast indeed. We truly thank you for being part of it. And also our great sponsors, Rob McCallum Films and Retro City Games. If you want to be part of our sponsorship team like Rob McCallum Films and Retro City Games, want to check us out, you want to go ahead and send us a message. We will talk to you about being part of our sponsorship team, because we're now on 2 great broadcasts each week on the big Podcast Radio Network and also several other different audio outlets. So just send us a line, or if you have a question in regards to the show, or you want to ask us a question that you want said on air, you want to check us out, Pop Culture Cosmos on Facebook, at Pop Culture Cosmos on Twitter, and also send us an email, popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. So we've got, again, our good friend, the co-host of the show, the main man, like me, I'm co-host, he's co-host, we're all co-hosts. So it's a great pleasure indeed to have on the show my good friend, Mr. Josh Pederson, also the author of Vendetta Dark, the upcoming Congratulations You Suck, the director of Ghost Hustlers, and the man behind Humannequin Media. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. So if 2 people are co-hosting, would that mean that they're co-hostitating? Would that be the correct terminology for that?
I think that's correct. Co-hostitating. There you go. Sounds kind of risque indeed. But how are you doing, my friend? It's glad to have you back on the show as always.
I'm good, man. I'm thrilled to be here. How are you doing? You've got all these Pop Culture Cosmos has pretty much got its own it's got a multiverse now. So I mean, eventually we're gonna have all these things orbiting around us. So as the creator of this universe, tell me, how's life?
Life is good, and people should check out our other great show, the PCC Multiverse, which is on all those great programmings. And in fact, uses the same RSS feed, uses the same channels downloaded. You'll get it every Friday. The show itself airs live. Well, okay, airs almost live on the Podcast Radio Network on Fridays, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. That's 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific on the Podcast Radio Network. And again, on all our different stations and networks, the Tangent Bound Network, the ESO Network, also as well, the Gonna Geek Network, Stitcher, Google Play, iTunes, podcast.com, and also as well Mixcloud. So we've got a great program lined up for you indeed. All those great, people are coming down the line. I'm doing well, to answer your question in long detail there. But, it's always great to be back into the pop culture cosmos universe, and just looking forward to another great program indeed. So before we get to those great things that are coming up in this hour, including another great CES interview also lined up for as well, want to talk to you a little bit about a couple things that came across our desk recently. Well, first off, Bob Iger, the CEO of Disney, which you said recently on a recent podcast that, they own the world, them and Apple. As far as that's concerned, in his latest earnings call, in regards to owning the world, got a chance to take a sneak peek already at The Last Jedi, and also talked about Star Wars Land coming in 2019 to the California and Orlando Disney World and Disneyland theme parks. So your thoughts on exactly how this is shaping up between the acquisition of Disney and the Star Wars universe and Lucasfilm and all that. Is this something that you had pictured when they first bought them back, 4 or 5 years ago?
I don't actually know what I pictured. I wasn't expecting any more Star Wars movies, at least not anytime soon. And so far I've been impressed. But Bob Iger, I think him telling us that he's seen The Last Jedi is kind of a jerk move, because now we have to wait until December to see it. And you've obviously read the article. He says, I quote, "Star Wars: The Last Jedi, otherwise known as Episode 8, will open in December, and I just saw it last week. It's a great next chapter in the iconic Skywalker family saga." So he's trying to sell us Star Wars, but we are already sold on Star Wars. So what is the point of him saying anything about it at all, basides, obviously he's seen it. But I mean, I might be overreacting.
Do you have an open cut? Do you have an open cut? Because he's like rubbing salt on it as basically it's what he's doing.
He really is. He really is. That's yeah. No, I don't understand why he needed to say that, because the movie comes out in December. We're obviously on board to watch it, but you don't have to shove it in our face that, he's like one of those little kids at the zoo that stands in front of the gorilla exhibit eating an ice cream cone.
And the gorilla wants it and can't have it.
There.
Yes, I could definitely see that here. I want the candy. I want the ice cream. We want, but can't have it. So tough luck for us indeed. We have to wait until December. But what are you gonna do? So it's indeed. But we're hoping for some great stuff indeed. In fact, I'm also going to be able to hopefully play something from along the lines of Humannequin Media. And Josh, if people didn't get a chance to check out last week's program on the PCC Multiverse, which they can get on download today, tell us a little bit more about the new venture you're starting up with Humannequin Media.
Humannequin Media is the I don't know, I guess you can say love child of Pogue Media. It's so Pogue Media is closed down. Everything I create going forward, including all of my podcasts, like Chad and Travis's musical show about music, the Double J Filmcast, the Super Bro Station games cast, and I'm probably forgetting something, but Ghost Toasters, all this stuff moving forward is going to be produced under Humannequin Media. So if you've been a fan of Pogue Media, please follow us. Same team, different name. And you can find us on Facebook, YouTube. There will be some stuff up on Pop Culture Cosmos. And we are actually really excited about where the future is going, especially teaming with Gerald Glassford and Rob McCallum to create some amazing content and shameless plugging.
Indeed, that's what we do here at the Pop Culture Cosmos. So before we head on out, I also want to touch on another subject. E3 is something that both you and I are very, very familiar with, as far as for many years being the center of the video game universe, as far as news, information, transactions, basically the mega, the central part of the video game universe has their multiverse, which hits Los Angeles Convention Center every June, is kind of doing something different. Maybe it's due to a lot of people pulling, a lot of companies pulling out over the past couple of years, whatnot. But in response, they're trying to make it a little bit more fan friendly. And in doing so, they're allocating 15,000 tickets to the public in a couple different allotments, as far as trying to make sure that it's fair as possible to getting that out there. My question to you is, how do you think E3 at this point in time should be structured? Should there be separate days for the public and the press? And do you think it will get even larger? Some have said it's going to go the way of Gamescom, where there's based literally over 100 some odd thousand people, like CES, although that's basically to industry standards because that is so huge. But Gamescom, which does over 150,000 individuals that pay to go to it, as far as the public is concerned, do you see it going in that direction, or do you still see it staying the way it has been as the industry event has been so far for so many years?
I honestly, I don't see them changing it much. I know, what did they have before? They had E3 for the press, and then they had another thing called E3 for everyone. Am I correct in that?
No, that was a separate one. E for everyone was a separate thing. This was this E3 has been just available to industry insiders, media, and then also anybody who's been exhibitor, as far as it's concerned, and special invited guests.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think that from what I've heard about E3, like just with the press, and special guests, it's a madhouse anyway. So I think letting, what would you say, 15,000 people come in is going to create a lot of problems. So a lot of journalists that go there are looking to give people scoops. They want to write stories. They want people to know what's coming out, what's current, what these developers are doing. But if you let a bunch of people in there that aren't press or fanboys, for instance, that you're going to have a hard time getting that information out to people. So I like the way that it's structured, but I hope that since they're letting all these people in now, I hope that they still have special things for the press, like special opportunities to talk to them. That, like the same way they would structure like a NHL event, like the All-Star game I was just at. Like they have rooms where you can talk to all the people who are worth talking to.
Definitely, I kind of agree to you as well. I have attended E3 on 4 or 5 occasions, and I know waiting in lines. The lines have been discussed for many years now, as far as how long they are, how already, as far as last year with Zelda, the lines were, as Doug said, several hours long just to play a 15-minute demo of it. So I don't think it's going to get any prettier from that end. And like you said, it's going to be harder for individuals and the inside, as far as the press, the media, the exhibitors, things of that nature, to do their business, to make their transactions. Plus, also as well, it's, for a lot of publishers, it's where they do business with retailers. You can't forget that. It's similar to what CES does as well. So I think from that end, it's going to be a little bit harder to do business. But from the ESA standpoint, which runs E3, I don't think they saw any alternative, because each year they saw more and more big name publishers pulling out to do their own shows and do their own E3 type formats. So I think in response to losing that type of income, that they had to go that route. So I from that end, I don't blame them. it's just going to be very hard for individuals such as us to go ahead and cover it the way we want to from that aspect. But you know what? That's just got to be the case. That's we got to do in order to make sure that the consumer base who cannot attend E3 gets a great amount of coverage. And if it's best long term for E3 to go more and more public, then that's what it's going to have to be. And the media and the press are just going to have to get used to it. Your thoughts on that as far as, going that route?
Yeah, no, I agree. What I did like about E3 is the fact that it's kind of you don't have to like Nintendo has a lot of their conferences in Japan, and it's like all these companies were local, so you get them all in one place and you could talk to them. But like now, since a lot of them are dropping out of E3, you have to travel all over the place just to get a scoop on these things. So I hope that E3 doesn't or the company that puts on E3, I hope that they don't reach the point where they're like a shopping mall that makes it too difficult for people to put up stores inside of it, if that makes sense. Too expensive. So yeah, I have noticed that E3 has gotten a little more boring lately just because there's less there. But I hope they kind of learn their lesson. Maybe this will end up being like Comic-Con, just have massive bodies walking around. Maybe it'll regain popularity, but I guess we'll have to wait and see.
We will wait and see, indeed, but I think it will be going that trend because once you get a taste of that public money, I don't think it'll ever turn back. So those in the media that if you're bothered by it, oh well, sorry, because unless E3 itself creates its own separate media days again, one or two media separate days where they can go ahead and meet with all these exhibitors and make it into instead of just a 3-day experience, make it a 5-day experience where there's 2 for the media and 3 for the public out there to enjoy, which I think it's going to eventually do. I think it's going to have to eventually, if you want the media to be able to do its business and the exhibitors do their business with media and publishers and retailers and all that, but you want the cake and eat it too, you're going to have to go and extend to a whole 5 days, with 3 of them being exclusively devoted to the public at large. So that does it for right now, but we've got a great show planned for you today. We truly appreciate you being part of the broadcast. Josh, any last words before we head on out? Because I've got another great song from Hyperschmidt coming along the way as well.
Yeah, please check out Humannequin Media. We appreciate all the support you can get. Obviously, the more followers and subscribers we have on YouTube and Facebook, the more credibility we will have to do more things. So, as always, I appreciate everything. I appreciate the fans and Pop Culture Cosmos and Rob McCallum Films, Retro City Games. Thank you, and I look forward to creating some awesome stuff in the future here.
I definitely look forward to as well, indeed. So here we go. For Josh Pederson, this is Gerald Glassford. We're coming back with a great episode. Check it out. It's going to be a great hour for you. But first, here's a song from our good friends at Hyperschmidt. This is the Pop Culture Cosmos. All right, we want to thank you for joining us here today on the Pop Culture Cosmos. Once again, check us out each and every week at 10:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 p.m. Pacific, right here on the Podcast Radio Network. Also as well, the Tangent Bound Network, the ESO Network, the Gunna Geek Network, iTunes, Stitcher, Mixcloud, Podcast.com, and Google Play. And if you download our shows, you always get a bonus episode. We try to make sure there's a bonus episode for you indeed. And also our great new show, the PCC Multiverse, a collection of various shows within the Pop Culture Cosmos universe. You want to check that out. 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 p.m. Pacific on the Podcast Radio Network. And it's also on the it's also on the Pop Culture Cosmos channel on all those great networks, indeed. The ESO Network, Tangent Bound Network, the Gunna Geek Network, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, Mixcloud.com, and Podcast.com. So, Josh, it's been a great episode. I am exhausted from just all those great interviews we had with Utomig, with also as well, the video games play, and also as well the great guys from and gals from the TV rating guy, the TVRatingsGuide.com. So, Josh, did you have any last thoughts? Plus, also a great taste of one of your shows in the Humannequin Media universe. So, before we head on out, do you have any last thoughts on what we talked about? Any Mass Effect thoughts or anything that you've got going on in the Pop Culture Cosmos universe?
I think we covered just about everything, but Mass Effect, I am super excited to play that game. I have fanboy issues right now, and I need to play something. I've been playing Assassin's Creed, the Ezio collection, and it is the most. See, the thing about, we've discussed this before, remasters they're so frustrating. So I'm looking forward to playing something that does not make me want to break a controller.
Well, that's one thing I want to say that EA, Electronic Arts, kind of slipped up on before releasing, the impending release of Mass Effect Andromeda, unless there's something miraculously happens, but I think they would have already done it already, is announced that they're doing a re-envisioning of the Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3 universe, because I really think that they could have done it. They've always shied away from it and said they weren't really interested in doing it, but I hope they reconsider, because Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3 were, a really remastering of those games. I think if any series does need a remastering that would look great on current day consoles, it would be the Mass Effect universe indeed. And I think Shepard right behind me agrees with me, right, Shepard? Yeah, that's what I thought. Indeed. So for Josh Pederson, the man, the myth, the legend behind Humannequin Media, this is Gerald Glassford from Pop Culture Cosmos and Game Source. Again, if you have any questions for us here on the show, or if you want to be part of our sponsorship team, or you just have a great idea that you want correlated on the show, or you want to be a guest on the show as far as letting us know how you can better interest the Pop Culture Cosmos universe, just send us a line, Pop Culture Cosmos on Facebook, also as well, Pop Culture Cosmo on Twitter, and popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. And don't forget to like us follow us on Facebook and Twitter as well. So for Josh Pederson, the author of Vendetta Dark and the Congratulations You Suck and Ghost Toasters, and the man behind Humannequin Media, any last thoughts?
No, thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to more trips through the multiverse and the cosmos with the ever omnipotent Gerald.
Oh my gosh, indeed. Don't on our next episode of the multiverse, I definitely want to talk to you about Thanos taking the lead role in Infinity War. So that's definitely
yes.
So we'll save that for Friday's program indeed. So check that out there. 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 p.m. Pacific. That is the PCC multiverse. But for now, Josh Pederson, this is Gerald Glassford. We want to thank you for watching. We want to thank you for listening. It's another beautiful day in paradise here in the Pop Culture Cosmos. And here's hoping you have yourself a great day.